Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about the next chapter of Ray, Rollins, and Murph. But first, hit that like button for me. Then also hit subscribe. Thank you all, to everybody who has been subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it. We're growing slow, but we're growing. So let's see if we can get some more people in on this silliness. Okay, so we're going to talk today about the next chapter of Ray, Murph, and Rollins. It begins on Smackdown, November the 6th. Ray is panicked. He's anxious. He doesn't know where Aaliyah is. He can't find her. I don't know why he wants her there in the first place. And Dominic is like, Papa, your Max is next, Papa. And Ray's like, I know. I can't find Aaliyah. Do you know where she is? And Dominic's like, no, Papa, I have no idea. And he's like, do you know where my bag is? And he's like, yes. He's like, can you go get it for me, please? And Dominic runs off to get Ray's bag, to get his gear so he can get prepared for his match. And while his back is turned, as he's frantically calling for his daughter, King Corbin kicks his ass, just beats him up from behind. Because Rey Mysterio is a crash dummy, not a legend. Then they have the match. Is Baron Corbin versus Rey Mysterio for a spot on the Survivor Series team. Dominic is at ringside. And the match is going along swimmingly. Ray is winning. Well, Corbin is winning, of course, because he's the bigger man. He's also the heel for most of the match. He's winning for most of the match. Then Seth Rollins comes out to watch because he's very interested in all of these goings on. He's very interested in the Survivor Series stuff. And then all of us, he's clapping for Ray. He wants Ray to win. He's like, yay, Ray, go. Being very manipulative. He's gotten everybody's attention. Because Dominic's got an eye on Rollins, and he's got an eye in the ring, and everybody's watching, and everybody's like, okay, what's going on here? So, of course, Dominic gets beaten up by Baron Corbin first, and Baron Corbin sneaks attacks him, knocks him down, because Dominic is bouncing between lion and lamb. He's a lion 1 minute, he's got a chair or a kendo stick, or he's very tough, he runs to the ring, he wants to fight everybody, and then the next minute, or even sometimes even in the same episode, he's just a helpless kid who's getting his ass kicked. They need to stick a line, find a lane. I get that, that's kind of how it is with people sometimes, but come on, bro. And while Ray is winning, hit 619 on Baron Corbin, everything looks like it's about to go well. Rollins runs down the ramp, blindsides Dominic, and starts to stomp him. And he's stomping him. He's stomping him something good. And then, of course, Ray is not going to let this happen. He jumps out of the ring to fight Rollins off. Rollins runs off because that's what he would do. And then Aaliyah and Murph come to the ring late. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? And Ray's like, get out of here. You two, get out of here. I don't want you here. He slides back into the ring, catches End of Days, and loses. Rey Mysterio lost his first match since June. He hasn't wrestled a match in over 4 months, and he lost the very first match he was in since June. Boy, okay. So, look, okay, let's talk about that for a second. Now, Baron Corbin is one of the most stale characters in the entire business. This King Corbin thing, it feels like it's been going on longer than it has been. I think it's only been going on for a year. But it feels like it's been going on for 3 years. It's felt long. He's super stale. They need to do something different with him. But he has retired Kurt Angle, so I'm not gonna get too upset about him being the guy who gets to pin Rey Mysterio and go on to Survivor Series. I mean, they're slowly, because they're not pushing him anymore. He's not the top heel before. Like Corbin was the top heel on SmackDown maybe a year and a half ago. Okay, maybe not even a year and a half, maybe a year ago. Around this time last year, Corbin was the top heel, or one of the top heels. But now he's sort of a middling heel because Roman has the top spot, and then you have this mixture of other people there. Rollins is also a top heel, and he's not on their level. So he's at least number 3 or 4. Probably number 4 or 5, to be quite honest. But Ray has not wrestled a match since June. And then also the distraction finish. We'll talk about the distraction finish somewhere else. So Ray is, of course, he was distraught that he lost. Everybody's upset that he's lost. So later in the evening, Otis versus Seth Rollins is taking place. This is also a Survivor Series qualifying match. And Murphy comes to the ring. Murphy comes to the ring and he's standing in typical disciple position. And he's watching very intently at, well, you think he's staring down Rollins because Rollins did this evil thing earlier by attacking young Dominic from behind. But what we get is that Murphy distracts Otis because we got to have a distraction finish. And Otis ends up losing, gets stomped, and Seth Rollins wins. So the Mysterios who have been watching are now very disappointed in Murph because Murph has helped Seth Rollins win. And after the match, Seth Rollins chased Murphy down and was very excitedly like, I please tell me that you're returning home. Or you're returning home, that you've changed your mind. And Murph is like, Messiah, disciple. Messiah, disciple. And Rollins is overjoyed that he got his Murph back. Like, yes, I accept your apology, Murph. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, why? Why are we doing this now? Why are we going in this circle? I think I may have an idea, but we'll get to that in a minute. After Rollins leaves and he's happy, so he's gone. Aaliyah shows up and she's like, "What are you doing? I fought on my family for you. What are you doing?" And Murph's like, "You gotta trust me on this. This is for the greater good." So Murph likely has his own greater good. I don't understand why we have to. Okay, so the obvious answer to this is that Murphy is going to trick Rollins, but we don't need that because they've already turned. Or this whole thing couldn't be a Seth Rollins setup because if that was the case, he wouldn't be surprised that Murph came back. He's surprised Murph came back because Murph is doing these things on his own, right? Now, Murph has tried to rebel. He was shot down. There was no support system other than Aaliyah. So it's sometimes in cults, if there is no support system, you do tend to go back. It's the same thing with abusive relationships where if you're being abused or something like that, you try to leave and then you end up getting pulled back in because there's no support system there. And the only person that supports you is also your abuser, which is really strange. So if this is the story that you're going to tell, then okay. But if we're going to tell this story that Murph is trying to leave just so he can down the line at some perfectly opportune moment going to turn on Rollins, that's stupid. That's really stupid because they've already turned. You can't get the same pop twice. Not for that. Not for that. It doesn't make any sense either. Now, the only other option that you got here is that Murphy is trying to recruit Aaliyah to Rollins' camp. Well, that's not your only other option. It's just a option. And I don't know about this. I don't know about now. I like that because it's, but it's a different thing from the Stephanie McMahon situation. Because if you're going to have Ray fight Rollins and Murph in order to get his daughter back, it would make sense if she were being young and impressionable and all that type of stuff and not being an agent making her own decisions, which seems to be, it's not the Stephanie McMahon story because Stephanie McMahon was being a damsel in distress when Vince McMahon was going to fight Triple H for her. And then she made a decision to be with Triple H, which of course turned her heel and made her what she is now. That decision has been made by Aaliyah already. Like she's already made the decision. So we went from Aaliyah maybe trolling her family with this whole "I love you" and kissing Murph thing to now Murphy is trolling the Mysterios and Rollins with this Messiah disciple thing. So are we leaning towards what I called before the Bonnie and Clyde option, where these two are going to turn on each? Like Rollins is going to turn on Murphy, Aaliyah is going to turn on the Mysterios, and they're going to leave together. If that was the case, all we really needed from this situation is for Aaliyah to turn on the Mysterios because Murph had already left Rollins. Or we're going to have Murph pull Aaliyah into the Seth Rollins orbit, which doesn't do him any good. It's a regression of his character. And Rollins is sort of arrogant, so it makes sense that he would fall for this. Like his control over Murph is so strong that Murph can rebel a little bit, but then he at the end of the day he pulls him back in. But I don't see why we need to do this. This is the filler of the story, right? This is filler. Now there may be important pieces to it down the line, probably not, but This is filler. Like, and it's not as entertaining as it was previous. Like, that's the problem with this story. That's why the story needs to fucking end. Like, it either needs to be entertaining every single week because it's been going on so long, or you're going to see people go from, okay, this is an interesting development here. She loves Murph. They're kissing. It's cringy. It makes me feel something. It's disgusting. It's odd, you know, or I have an opinion on that. And then it's like, okay, now they're just bouncing back and forth. I don't know how I feel about this. This needs to end. And that's really where I am with it. Like, I'm cool with the cringy parts and the telenovela soap opera parts of it. But when we got to go back to things that we've already done, I feel like we're not really moving forward, you know, and we're hamsters on a wheel. And Murph is, you know, not being helped with this. Now, this whole thing is obviously still developing Aaliyah. So you could say that, you know, she's now is going to be like, is she so in love with Murphy that she's going to run off and join Seth Rollins to be with him? You know, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Now, we've seen, you know, whole children join in the cult before, you know, famously the Raven Sandman storyline where Tyler joined the Ravens camp and, you know, because Raven, I guess, was banging Sandman's wife, which was, oh boy, that was crazy. Daddy, you're a drunk. I worship Raven. But we don't have that kind of situation here because Aaliyah's not so innocent. You know, it was a lot more innocent when it was a kid. Also, Aaliyah has been more assertive than Stephanie had been when Stephanie was in this situation. So you have to write it differently. You know, now maybe Aaliyah is going to run off with Murph anyway. Who knows? But this story needs to wrap it up. They need to wrap it up. Also, Seth Rollins is going to be on the Survivor Series team, along with King Corbin. So okay, that's interesting. You know, at least, so that means this story is going to continue at Survivor Series, likely with them being involved with Seth Rollins' elimination or victory, however it's going to go. But we need, it's going to be a struggle because this has been going on too long. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.